Coming up on this edition of Tider Insider Television, the spotlight proved to be a little too bright for this star. Why is the Tide quarterback looking to transfer, and where will he go? This Tide basketball player is also leaving, only it will have to be on Alabama's terms. Is this fair, or is this another lesson from the School of Hard Knocks? And they've already won the SEC championship twice. So will this be the year that the Alabama softball team finally wins it all? We'll talk live with Coach Pat Murphy about his team's #1 seeding. And it's do or die for the Alabama baseball team. Will they respond and secure a spot in the hunt for Hoover? It's the show that always hits it out of the park. It's a done deal. Tider Insider TV starts right now.
Go inside the Crimson Tide. Tider Insider TV with Rodney Orr and Gary Harris.
Well, last Thursday, the Crimson Tide softball team received its trophy for winning the SEC regular season championship. On Saturday night, they got the hardware for winning the SEC tournament. And then on Sunday, they found out they're the #1 overall seed for the upcoming NCAA tournament. Quite a week. Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome in to Tider Insider TV, presented by Buffalo Rock Bottling Company. We're enjoying Dr. Pepper tonight. I'm Gary Harris, alongside Rodney Orr from TiderInsider.com. And Rodney, I'm battling that head cold that's going around.
Nothing worse than that during the summer.
It's
what?
bad.
It's terrible.
So you may be having to do a lot more talking tonight. Pat Murphy's going to talk, though, some for us, too. The Alabama softball coach will join us in studio to discuss all of the good news surrounding his incredible team. Also, a big commitment last week for the Alabama football team. But first, news regarding an Alabama quarterback that soon may be a former Alabama quarterback. The rumor's been out there for some time, and now it looks like the rumor is coming true. Alabama redshirt sophomore quarterback Star Jackson is looking to transfer, according to his high school coach down in Lake Worth, Florida. Eric Lowe said Jackson met last week with Crimson Tide head coach Nick Saban to discuss his transfer options. He's expected to leave for an NCAA football championship subdivision school or a Division II school. Why, you ask? Well, he would be eligible to play immediately, and he would not lose any eligibility, meaning he'd have 3 years to play at one of those schools. Now, he was running third on the depth chart behind incumbent fifth-year senior starter Greg McElroy, as well as redshirt freshman A.J. McCarron. There's the rub. McCarron, a freshman, Jackson, a sophomore. He's behind McCarron on the depth chart, so playing time, Rodney, did not look like it was going to be available for Jackson. Plus, he was battling Phillip Sims, a true freshman, for that #3 spot. So all in all, this is something that we've been talking about and doesn't come as a huge surprise.
No, again, even Star Jackson brought it up at the BCS championship game, and during the interviews Gary talked about he possibly may be looking to transfer after the end of the spring semester. And again, so it's not a surprise at all. And Star Jackson had the problem in the spring where he was suspended for 3 practices, and you could kind of see the handwriting on the wall at that point.
I guess what's disappointing about this is he came in with such hype and was one of Nick Saban's first really big recruits, and he really performed pretty well. It's not a case that he can't play. He just got caught in a little bit of a numbers crunch, and it wouldn't catch me off guard at all if he goes to a lower tier school and just lights it up.
Yeah, and again, I thought he showed a lot in the spring. Gary didn't give up after he was suspended. He came back, performed very well in the A-Day game, showed a lot of progress. He fought, even though he realized that he was probably going to leave, or was certainly considering it at the time. And so he showed what he was made out of, I think. And I think Star Jackson's an outstanding talent. He's got a good arm. He's got the ability athletically to move around and do some things. Could have even possibly played another position. He wants to be a quarterback, Gary, and I think, I certainly wish him well whatever he decides.
And how Alabama fans think. Immediately now they turn their attention to recruiting and how many quarterbacks might Alabama sign now with Jackson's pending departure.
Well, I think, Gary, personally, I think you certainly like to take a quarterback in every class, but I'm not sure that Alabama had decided before the Star Jackson thing becomes final that they were going to definitely take a quarterback. I think probably they were leaning towards that if they could find the right guy, but now with Star Jackson probably leaving, I think that Alabama certainly will take a quarterback. And we talked about Bubba Starling here on the show last week, the quarterback from Kansas, who's an outstanding player, has it down to Alabama, Notre Dame, and Nebraska. Also, Chad Kessler out in California is another prospect. Alabama recruiting several, and we'll just kind of have to see where it goes.
And from the gridiron to the hardwood, Justin Knox is going to be playing basketball somewhere this coming season. We know it won't be at Alabama, and we're not sure where it will be. He had his appeal denied, and that means that
with a wraparound.
The appeals committee upheld Alabama's decision to not let him transfer to a school within the state system, another SEC school, or a school on Alabama's schedule. He was looking hard at UAB and Ole Miss. Now North Carolina is a possibility. Georgia Tech is a possibility. But, Rodney, I guess the question everybody's asking is, why not just let him go play where he wants to go?
Well, I mean, I don't know. There's certainly a lot involved in it that Anthony Grant knows that I'm not privy to, or anyone else for that matter. And I think that certainly he was expecting Justin Knox to come back. So, you know, this is a loss for him, and I think it's certainly not as a get-back type thing, but I think if he's going to allow him to transfer, he certainly has the right, or Alabama, the university certainly has the right to determine where they do not want him to go.
Now, Knox's uncle, Darian Knox, has said the family will sit down and possibly even consider legal action as a last resort. I don't see where that would do anybody any good. He's got some options. As I said, North Carolina has offered him a scholarship, pardon me, which is a great school. Georgia Tech is interested. Anthony Grant, meanwhile, has said it wasn't him blocking Justin. He said it was an administrative decision and that he's not involved in it. So that's his take on it.
That's interesting. Again, like I said, the University of Alabama, whatever the decision is, I think that certainly they have the right to make that decision.
Well, I've known Justin since he was in high school at Central High School in Tuscaloosa. Great young man, know his uncle Darian, and good family. I hope it works out for them, and certainly Alabama has to move on with its basketball program. Well, the swoosh will be around University of Alabama athletics for at least 8 more years. UA and Nike have signed an amendment to extend their original agreement signed in 2002. The new deal will be for 8 more years through June 30th, 2018. It was set to end in 2011 with this 7-year extension valued at nearly $30 million in cash and product. Nike will provide the athletic department with shoes, uniforms, coaching gear, and other equipment. Well, up next on Tider Insider TV, we'll hit the recruiting trail and talk about the Tide's latest commitment. Is Louisiana's Bradley Sills solid to Alabama? Also ahead, they're the champions of the SEC and the #1 overall seed for the upcoming NCAA tournament. Alabama softball coach Patrick Murphy will join us live. And still to come, will the Alabama baseball team make the SEC tournament? They've got a tall task in front of them, and they'll need some help from their friends. Stay with us. Welcome back. Time to talk to you about Nukes, 205 University Boulevard East, just up from the University of Alabama campus. Open 7 days a week for lunch and dinner. Nukes Express Cafe is terrific. Matter of fact, I need to get by Nukes. Maybe it'd make me feel better. Whether it's an oven-toasted sandwich, a California-style pizza, a hand-tossed salad, or one of their great desserts, you can't go wrong at Nukes. Terrific atmosphere, incredible service, and prices that won't break your budget. Nukes Express Cafe, call them for all your catering needs. They will take care of you. You'll be glad you went by. And if you go by once, you'll go by again and again. Well, football news for the Crimson Tide, and it's another outstanding high school football player, Bradley Sills, wide receiver from Louisiana, Rodney, a speedster, a track star, thought at one time to be a lock for LSU, but he committed last Thursday, or last week, to Alabama.
Yep, do a lot of things, Gary. You mentioned his speed, guy that runs in the neighborhood of a 10-400 meters. When you're talking about speed, look at the speed Nick Saban's added. You're talking about Kenny Bell, the redshirt freshman from the state of Louisiana. You're talking about Corey Grant and recruiting this past year. Now Bradley Sills and some other guys as well. But what speed he's going to bring. And as you mentioned, Gary, a lot of people thought he was headed to LSU. And kind of a little bit of a surprise that he would early pick for Alabama.
Well, it is a long time until February, and you know that LSU's not going to quit recruiting him just because he's committed to Alabama. Is that going to be a tough job for the Tide to hang on to him?
Well,
I know they can put a lot of pressure on you in that state.
No question about that. But, you know, Gary, I talked to one of the assistant coaches there at the high school this past week, and he told me he didn't think that Bradley Sills would have made a decision if he thought that he might switch. So he really thinks that Bradley Sills will stick with the decision to Alabama. Thought he was extremely happy with that decision. So, again, I think right now it looks to be pretty solid.
12 commitments for Alabama, pretty much halfway through the class for 2011. Well, coming up next on Tider Insider TV, 24 straight wins and counting for the Bama softball team. Coach Patrick Murphy joins us live in studio to talk about it all next. Is this the year that Bama not only gets to Oklahoma City but wins it all? He may not want me to ask that question, but we probably will. Plus, we'll be taking your phone calls and answering your emails. There's the information on the screen that you need to get in touch with us. Stay tuned. You're watching the show that takes you inside the Crimson Tide the one, the only, Tider Insider TV.